Been good, man. It's been a busy day, but I'm here and I'm ready to get this going, man. Let's do it. We've been having some technical difficulties to start out. We apologize about that, but don't worry. We're gonna have our usual fire show, so don't worry about it. We good. We good. So about how you were late? You were late. You were late. You were definitely late. Yeah, well, yeah, because I'm on time, and you were late, so it's different. They're saying okay. Forte, they're saying you're muted. Oh my god. Like I said, technical difficulties. Uh, how are you gonna tell our audience that you're not muted? And they're saying no Forte audio. Forte is muted.
What
No
in the
audio. No audio. No sound,
yo,
guys.
they literally I hate OBS update. I hate them.
Don't do updates before you about to go live,
Oh no,
man.
I didn't do it today. I did it like 3 days ago, but this is the first time I launched OBS since then. So they just missed me literally giving you the greatest intro of all freaking time. I
I
just
don't know
get
if it was the greatest intro of all
I
time,
could
but
do it. I could do it again. Well, I can sing it this time.
now they're saying you're low. Please don't do that.
I'm definitely not low. I can't be low.
Can you stop telling the audience that they're wrong? I mean,
I
just
Oh, see, look, somebody just said they want an encore. You want an encore? Yo, welcome to episode 103 of DPS Podcast. This is where we basically just talk about games and all that other crazy stuff. And like I said, I got the man Slow-Mo back clap here. Is it back clap, back slap? What is it, Slow-Mo? What did you change your name to on Twitter not too long ago?
clap back
And why did you do that?
because I clap back.
Why did you have to clap back on somebody? You need to tell me the story because I'm like completely out of the loop.
Oh,
What happened?
what this you know what happened this week.
Why I know a lot of stuff that did happen. I don't know what was the trigger for you to make your name that though.
Well, I actually made my name that a few weeks ago, but it's just more apt about my activities on Twitter this week. I just asked a simple question and people got upset and said I was trying to demonize a particular company. You know how people have to defend their corporations, you know. So it was very, very strange. But look, we don't need to get into it. We don't need to get into it. Um, it's been a good week, so I'm not going to sully the podcast with fanboy nonsense. That's not what we about. Forte, and
Is
now I
that
can't hear it.
I'm here.
Go ahead.
I was just listening. I was waiting. You actually was done talking. I couldn't believe it. So Slow-Mo, I missed you, man. I missed you. I missed the 10%ers. Yo, True Serious said Slow-Mo butt slap. Hey man,
Well,
that's a good name. It's actually a really good name. But let's be for real. Let's basically just talk to the chat for a second. Shout out to Aim Down Scopes. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Mitchy Poo. Shout out to Spider. Razar. Shout out to you. True Serum. Who else is up in here? We got that guy Smitty. That guy Smitty actually wasn't the first person up in here today. I'm kind of shocked. Somebody actually beat him to it. We got the boy Texas. Remember when I called him Kinetis or something? Kineticus or some stuff like that? And so
yeah, I don't
I,
know
was-
how you got that.
I don't either, but you know, now it's easy. I was like, it's Texas. King Metro Shin, we got him up in the chat. We got Katopsy. Shout out to you, bro. And I'm a rich swag lord. Really appreciate you coming through, my mans. And I think that is Colt Classic Cage in the house. Yo, Colt, hey, great job. I think it was the week I wasn't on Scumcast. You did an amazing job over there. You always do when you do it. But other than that, Slow-Mo, what have you been playing? What's been up with you? What's been new? How many games have you beaten so far? Because it's probably closer to 20, 30 now.
Oh no, it's still at 21. I've been playing a lot of like multiplayer stuff, so nothing that would technically get me a number of like another game beat for the year. But I've been playing a lot of Fortnite, Rogue Company, and you're gonna this is gonna shock you. Matter
What?
of fact, you would never guess what this game is that I've been playing.
I now I'm really interested. What is it? You really want me to
Yeah,
guess? Because I know
yeah, I
it
want
ain't.
you to guess.
I know it ain't Destiny, and I definitely don't.
Nope.
And you haven't been. You've been playing a lot of battle royales, and I don't. I would say Apex Legends, but I don't know if you're actually into that type of game. Is it a multiplayer game?
Yes, it is.
Well, Splitgate is on its deathbed, and Division you already play that every day or every other day. I don't know. Road Company is one you play. Can I get a? Can I get a? Can I get
The
a?
chat is actually really on point.
What are they? No way. You've been playing Grounded?
I've been playing Grounded, man.
So did you so this is what I hear. I was listening to Last Word with Ebontis and Cognito last week, and they talked about
Mhm.
because Thai guy Travis is on there and he was reviewing it, and he said, "Listen, I'm embargoed, but I'm gonna tell you right now that I wasn't expecting this game to be as good as it actually is. So
Now see now,
you can
I
tell
wouldn't say
me."
all that. I wouldn't say all
He
that.
said he wasn't expecting it to be an actual story beat to it. It actually has a story now. So tell me, what is all the hoopla with
I
Grounded
mean, it's
actually
got a
having a
little bit more fleshed out of a story, but even when y'all forced me to play it 2 years ago, it had a little bit of a story there. There was a purpose, there was a mystery
well the
of
story
why the
was
kids were shrunken, but, it's, yeah, man, it's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in the video game, basically. I wouldn't call it good,
oh,
but this is I would not be playing this game if it wasn't for my friends. My friends are like I've
so
been
it's
playing
a
I've been
friend's
playing
game.
games with them for forever, and usually, like and just in the spirit of us just playing games together, I'll end up playing stuff that I don't wanna play, and that's how I end up playing Sea of Thieves, all kinds of games that I normally would not play whatsoever, but, uh, last week, one of my friends was like, "I really wanna play Grounded," and I just ignored it. Like, I was just like, "I don't see this. Like, I don't see what he's saying. I'm just gonna act like it didn't happen." Then another one was like, "Yeah, let's try out Grounded." I'm like, "Oh god, here we go." So, once the third guy confirmed, I was like, "Alright, well, I guess we're playing Grounded," 'cause I normally don't rock the boat. Just as long as we playing games together is fine.
Mhm.
Um, they're having fun, and I'm not trying to mess up their fun. So I jump in. We got a shared world. We're look. We found some other station, lab or whatever. There's like this mystery with this scientist who I guess was shrunken too, and I don't know what he's trying to do. It doesn't make any sense. But the fun isn't in like those kind of things. My friends are having fun with just the random stuff that happens. So like we're building a base and I'm the one that's like actually trying to build the base out and the rest of them are just like doing whatever and I'm just like all right whatever. I'm cutting down leaves. I'm making walls and floors and stuff and staircases and all that, right?
Mhm.
One of my friends keeps killing every ant that comes near us. And I'm like, "Bro, can you leave the ants alone to help me out?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got you. I got you. I just want to kill ants." I'm like, "Cool."
I just want to kill
So
ants.
so eventually, the ants retaliated.
Oh Lord.
And so there's an ant army coming and they coming to kill us because we keep killing all the ants. And literally it's like an assault on our base where half of it got destroyed, but we killed all the ants, so at least we got all the ants dead. DJ Oro says we had it coming. You're right, we did. I told him to stop killing the ants. I mean, eventually it was going to go that way, and so like all these ants showed up. We just fighting for our life for like
I
a good
can't
15
believe
minutes.
I can't believe you up here really telling the story about how you fighting for your life. About how big are these ants?
Not that big. I mean, well, look, you're
I mean,
miniaturized,
you're
so
miniaturized, so
like They're like the size compared to a human, they're like the size of like a pit bull.
Oh man,
So, but imagine like a good like 30 of them showing up,
that's so
and
stupid.
then a little bit more keep showing up. So yeah, um, base got destroyed. Half of it got destroyed. I forced them to help me fix the rest of it, and yeah, I mean like there's that. There's like the spiders are absolutely horrifying. Before we built the base, me and one of my friends was stuck inside one of these little small little science labs that was like the size of like a petri dish. And there's a spider outside that just like can't fit in, and he's just trying to bite us over and over again. It was absolutely horrifying. Um, but it's like so those are like really random, not very like not scripted moments that people can look to and be like, "Oh, I was having fun doing this." But it's like you kind of have to have one friends to play with, which I've always kind of said that if a game can't be fun by itself, then it's not that great a game. So maybe that's how I kind of feel about, overall about Grounded. And I really don't really care about survival games anyway, so it's just not my cup of tea. But this is one of those games that if you're interested in it, and you got some friends that you can convince to be interested in it,
Hmm.
or are already interested in it, you're probably going to have some fun with just all the random stuff that happens. It's not going to be like, "Oh, I can't wait for you to get to this part." Like, it's not narrative driven whatsoever. Although, like, the main missions are like the main task and objectives are story based. There's so much other stuff that you have to do and can do that it's just like it ain't that important. You can do it at your leisure. So that's Grounded. That's actually what I've probably been playing the most this week because uh yeah, my friends get on, and I mean that two of them are like me where they work from home. So they're on it in it all the freaking time and blowing my phone up like, "Hey, when are you getting in here?" And I'm just
Right.
like, I don't care to get in there, but whatever, I'll get on. Next thing I know, it's been like 3 hours. So yeah, that's been it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, when I've been seeing a lot of people, especially on Twitter, the little bit I've been looking at it, talk about it, and I almost I was wondering, I was like, okay, is this just because Xbox hasn't had anything this year? So the fact that their game is finally coming out of quote unquote beta, and it's actually having this full release, is that why everybody's excited about it? But then when I looked at some of the reviews and stuff, I was like, oh, it looks like they actually added a lot of substance to the game. But I'm with
Yeah,
you.
it doesn't have a ton of reviews, but it's got like I mean, it's got a decent Metacritic. It's like 80s, low 80s, like 83 or something like that right now. So I mean, it's like the reviews have been good so far, but yeah, I mean, look, it's if you like survival games, you're probably gonna love it.
Yeah, well, that's what
Yeah.
for the most part, that's what it's kind of been moving the needle as of late. A lot of people have just been kind of just biding their time when it comes to just waiting for games to come out. Like I have people walk into the store and they're like, "Hey, what's the next game coming out?" I said, "Well, what platform you're on?" Hoping they say PlayStation. I'd be like, "Well," because if they say Xbox, I'm like, "Yo." I said, hopefully you play third party because Xbox ain't got nothing coming out this year. They got Pentiment. I mean, depends how you feel about
Yeah.
it. But
I'm looking forward to Pentiment. I mean, like my eyes are gonna bleed, but I'm gonna
you gonna force yourself through to play that game?
well, I mean, look, I really enjoyed Disco Elysium, which I played earlier this year, and it's similar to that. And Obsidians are good storytellers that make good RPGs. I want to see their take on that style of RPG. It's a little bit out of their wheelhouse, but I'm interested in it. I know it looks absolutely, and I know there are people been saying, "Oh, slow mo, it's the art style of the period of that state is based in." I don't care.
I don't care.
Don't care. It looks hideous. So,
It
and then you think that all art from that from that period is hideous, then yes, all art from that period is also hideous. And it's 2022. They didn't have to do that. But They did it, and it is what it is. And but I'm still gonna enjoy it. If it's a great story with great characters. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of people. So, in general, it just ultimately comes down to what excites you about what's coming out. And like I tell most people, God of War is like the first game that a lot of people are going to be really excited for. Call of Duty actually moved the needle for a lot of people when it came to the beta and stuff. So, I think in general, it's going to be a good time. I actually got it working. Oh my god!
yeah.
I literally had to reset. I guess it was an update for Photoshop. So, but slow mo.
Yeah,
Let's just start with the news of today. You know, the thing that I called you this morning for, and it took you 6 hours to call me back.
that's a lie. I called you back,
6 hours later.
like 3.
That's an eternity,
That's not 6 hours though.
but that's an eternity.
It's not 6 hours.
Listen,
Just look
let's just let's just talk. Let's just talk.
let's get to this eulogy that we gotta
This
do, okay?
eulogy. So, Google has officially come out and confirmed
What we
that
already knew.
Stadia is shutting down in early 2023, which will be January 18th of 2023. First of all, we're going to talk about we'll talk about the ramifications of what we think streaming is after we bury Stadia first. So slow mo, when you first saw this, because I saw it on YouTube. I was looking through my YouTube feed and I saw that IGN had posted it like 4 minutes earlier, and I was like, "Yo, no way!" And then I go look at Twitter and I was like, "Oh, it's on fire!" So tell me, what was your first thought of Stadia being put out to pasture in less than 3 months, or
My
just over
first
three
thought
months?
was finally, 'cause I wanted them to finally admit it instead of trying to pretend like they were really going to continue. Look, this was a foregone conclusion. The moment that they shut down their first party studios, they knew what they were going to do. And I mean, although they are, I will give them kudos for uh offering to give refunds to everyone who's ever purchased anything Stadia related, controllers, games, whatever. That's fine, right? Good. That's good for the consumer.
Right.
That's pro consumer. What they've done though to their partners, developers working on Stadia games who found out about this when we found out about it, and they got games that are coming out in the next 3 months. You know, you've been working on absolutely nothing. Sorry, you know. Um, what they've done to their own staff who have been working hard, engineers, people working to kind of keep Stadia running, um, is pretty messed up because those people also didn't find out, and get any real advanced notice. And it's very similar to what they did to their first party studios, where Phil Harrison, the Grim Reaper of gaming, um, Phil Harrison, um, 3 days before they shut down the first party studios, told them, "Hey guys, great work, great job. We're really turning the corner." All this other rah rah BS, while he knew that they were going to shut them all down. So, like, I mean, like anyone who's that callous, I mean, good grief, like keep him away from anything that I care about. Um, it's kind of messed up. But anyone who didn't see this coming, though, I don't know how old you are. Are you an infant, toddler?
Yeah,
Born yesterday? I don't
born.
know because it's clear. It was clear that they weren't about the life of this business, and they may have invested billions of dollars in setting things up with their infrastructure to work in gaming. And look, the tech works, man.
It
Like
does work.
they like it's been well known that they had their cloud streaming service is quality wise, performance wise, the best cloud streaming service that was out there. But it was a failed experiment from the very start because the whole business model was flawed to begin with. You can't go into this industry with nothing that makes your platform unique. And when I say unique, I'm not talking about the fact that you can stream games. That's not the uniqueness I'm talking about. I mean unique games. They're making it like, oh, it's a big W that we got Borderlands 3 on our platform, but everybody's got Borderlands 3. So what?
They said the same thing with Destiny because that was you got all the DLC and everything when you picked up Stadia's, and everybody has that. They just didn't have to
Yeah,
pay for the
yeah.
stuff.
It's everyone has Destiny. It's on everything but a Nintendo Switch. So like no, you need unique content.
Right.
And the fact that they launched this without even having a first party studio, they didn't start a first party studio until Jade Raymond fell into their lap. But that was after they already made their big first announcement that they were doing this. It's just like, so when are you gonna have first party games? And I just kind of knew then that was just like Google, knowing Google's history of shutting things down when they don't work out well initially, if they don't have a great launch initially, how they just pull the plug pretty quickly. 2 years is pretty quickly.
Mhm.
And that's not even half the amount of time it takes to make AAA games. So I
Yeah.
knew that, but like their first party studios were dead on arrival because they weren't going to be patient enough to allow those developers to make the games that they were paying them to make. And it
Yeah.
just shows a lack of understanding of the video game industry, how it works, and the fact that you got freaking Phil Harrison here who has presided over the death of so many daggone platforms.
Right.
And it's like even he doesn't understand that like you can't build a platform like this. Like what are you doing? What are you
Uh,
doing? So it's rest in peace. And pour out some a little something something for you, you know.
little so the question, let me ask you this then. Cause I think me and you both had the same reaction when we saw Phil Harrison sitting. Yeah, I was gonna say on stage, but it was a digital presentation of it. I remember when we first saw Phil Harrison, we was like, "Oh, this is already doomed.
Yeah.
He's already doomed." Because Phil Harrison presided over some of the worst disasters it feels like it gave me.
PS3, the
Yep.
launch of PS3,
Yep.
the launch of the Xbox One, Gaikai.
Yep.
Um, man, he literally is like the like
That man batting 100 in the wrong direction.
he's like a bad luck charm or something.
Yeah. Uh hey, I just realized. So shout out to DJ Oris. Sorry, DJ. I just saw it went by so fast. Shout out to you with the $5 super chat. He says, "My Destiny friends and are the best friends. Hashtag let's get nautical. Also, Sea of Thieves is excellent." And it just seems like the more we're going to talk about that too, because that's also a good segue to what you were talking about with Grounded. We could just talk about that for a second after we're done with the Stadia part. Um, but just the direction of the stuff that's going when it comes to like their games as a service and everything. But when it comes to Stadia, man, whew, let's be for real, man. I used it. It was like the only way to get a non-cheating version of Destiny other than console. And the thing is, it still ran at 60 frames per second because you had the PC version on there. You just didn't have a field of view slider, which sucked. But it was like the only way to get a non-cheating version of the game back then. And I literally subscribed just for that. And I know a lot of other people did too. But that's the problem. There was no other reason to do it. Remember when they tried to talk about Assassin's Creed? What was, I think at that time it was Odyssey, when they were talking about Assassin's Creed Odyssey and everything, and how you could do this and how you could do that, and all the different things they had implemented, like launching the game from like your favorite YouTuber, and if they it'll be like a join or go live button on their screen and everything. I said, where's all that cool tech that you were talking about? Now, granted, the service worked. That's the one thing I will give them credit for. But the business model, the strategy behind it was god awful. Like, how are you going to make old games a library that people have to buy into to stream those games? Not to play them and download them to your system, to literally stream them. And that was like, I felt like a missed opportunity, because if you have like a, if you had like a Nvidia Shield, you could do the same exact thing, but you could do it with games that you already own.
Yeah, and that was always the big difference between like Nvidia Shield, xCloud, even PlayStation Remote Play, which
Right.
like these are games that you already own or have access to through a subscription service, but there's an actual like it's a supplementary service. It's not the only thing that you got. You know, if you got xCloud, more than likely, well, actually not more than likely, the only way to really have access to it is to have Game Pass Ultimate. So you already have access to hundreds of games. Like when xCloud, I remember like when xCloud came out of beta.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, no, when it had the beta, Stadia had just came out and Stadia only had like 20 games. When the xCloud beta launched, it launched with double the
Double the
amount of
games.
games.
Yeah, we laughed at it. It's like, it's literally double the amount of games in there.
It's double the games, and it's like, yeah, uh, your performance of your service is better than xCloud, but like, so what if all the people gotta play is Destiny and a bunch of other little small games they've never heard of, and then oh yeah, Division 2 and Assassin's Creed, like that's it. So it's just like you really have to like look at the fact that their business model was just completely terrible from the very
Oh
start,
no,
and it's
it wasn't terrible. It was stupid.
yeah, and the I think it has been a cautionary tale, so to speak, for Amazon, because Amazon had almost literally the same exact business model, but if you notice, Amazon has not launched Luna the same way
Nope.
that Google has launched Stadia. They even put a lot of their first party games like New World and some of the other ones that they didn't cancel. But I don't think they're not quite out yet. But they've put those games on Steam in order to try to like build up a player base. So it's like it's different because they actually already have first party games coming out in before the official like big huge launch of Luna. So I mean, I don't think Luna's really going to do much of anything either, but yeah,
Yeah, who
it's
knows?
that, man.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing I'm gonna transition to. So the second half of that question is, what does this mean for streaming in general? Now we know Microsoft is 100%, dialed in. There is a part of their, their major push when it comes to subscription services with the cloud base, with Azure and everything. What do we think this is going to do to, or do we think it's going to do anything to just the overall ecosystem of streaming? Seeing that one of the biggest, companies out there that's in gaming. I mean, granted, you probably could even say they never really were in it because they weren't in it long enough to even do anything. But what do we think this means for streaming in general? Does it change anything, or is it going to be like a cautionary tale? What is your thoughts on that?
For streaming, I don't really think it changes anything 'cause I never really felt like Stadia was a uh, anything to for any of them to be concerned with to begin with. Like it didn't have any market share, it didn't have any like market penetration. So I don't think it really changes anything. When it comes, as far as the market goes, but as far as say like potentially this Activision Blizzard King deal, you can definitely probably see some of the regulators mention that a competitor that they had within this realm is no longer around anymore, and they could definitely point to the fact that there was a lot of talk at the time when Google shut down their first party studios, that the reason why they did that and
Mm-hmm.
that they kind of basically got out of this is that they realized what that they weren't about that life and spending the kind of money that Xbox was spending on on this in this industry. They weren't going to spend $7 billion to get ZeniMax Media, and look at how much money they're spending now compared to that. Like it's very, very telling. And I think they're gonna have to I think it won't be difficult for them to prove that that's not a problem, because Google just never had any like chance based upon their business model to really do any damage anyway. But regardless, it's something that's going to be brought up for certain.
Yeah, I that's the biggest thing for me. It's like when you look at the overall, when you look at everything that is involved inside of it, I don't think it's really going to hurt like Microsoft or anything like that, because I feel like their business structure is a lot more sound. The fact that it's just an option, where Stadia, it seemed like there was one. Well, there doesn't. You see, like there was one option. The only option was to just stream the games no matter what, and maybe in like 2029 or 2030 or 2032 or something like that, that might be something that's super viable. But right now, the stigma of just people not wanting to stream games on a consistent basis is very, very strong. And I don't think that that was going to be something that was going to really truly move the needle for them. But I do think there are going to be a lot of people out there that's going to be very excited to see exactly what's going to come out of streaming. But I just don't think it's that time yet. And then I just think Microsoft kind of scared them out of it. I think Microsoft looked at it, was like, I mean, I think Stadia looked at it, or Google looked at it, was like, we got to spend how much money to compete, especially in something like that. And this started with the Bethesda purchase. So Bethesda purchase was like 7 point something billion dollars. And the funny thing is, I don't know what Stadia thought was going to happen. Like, first of all, they had to build something from the ground up, that they went from 0 to 100. They didn't just come in and say we have all these studios already and been working, on games for the last 4 or 5 years. They literally came in purchasing studios, had Jay Raymond on the back and said, "Hey, we want you to make a game for us." And at that point, didn't even have an idea what the game would be. So, what did they expect to happen? Nobody's going to buy into an ecosystem where they don't even know what it's going to be. We complain about Microsoft and Sony not even giving us information on a consistent basis about the stuff that they're doing. We all knew what God of War Ragnarok was going to be, but people were enraged because they wouldn't get information about it every other week, or at least once a month from Sony. So what do you think is going to happen for a studio or a company that is coming into gaming for the first time, and you have nothing to bring to the table but things that we already either played or things that we already own on other platforms, and you expect us to pay full price for it? I literally just did not understand the thought process around that. And I think that was doomed from the very freaking beginning. Um, you did mention Luna earlier. So do you think that this is going to kind of move Amazon in a different way, or do you think Amazon is just going to, take their time and still release Luna on their own cadence?
I don't think Amazon's going to change anything that they were already planning on doing, because I think that they, like other people in the industry, once they saw that Google was shutting down first party studios, even us as consumers saw the writing on the wall. I think they already knew that Stadia was going to be out of it soon. So I think that if anything, it made clear the way for them to actually market Luna a little bit more than what they're doing. Because like if anything, I would say most of the gaming community doesn't even know that Luna exists, and I don't think it's been marketed very well. But also, their business model was so similar to Google Stadia. I think they may have been concerned about people not understanding that they're not Google Stadia.
Right.
So now that Google Stadia is out of the way, maybe they could ramp up their marketing a bit more. But I think as far as like first party games, and they haven't exactly had an easy road of it either. Like there have been reports that have come out about how Amazon first party has been kind of a disaster in themselves, and the developers didn't quite understand what was didn't understand, not the developers, but the leadership there didn't understand what was really going to take to get these games out. So it's these things are going to happen for every new contestant in this industry, so to speak. But it's well, I mean, I don't. I'm not going to try to pretend like I know where Amazon's going to go from here, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, nobody knows what's going to happen from there. The biggest thing comes down to, hey, if you got Google Stadia, you got to January 18th to try it out and mourn its demise as the time comes up. Because the crazy thing is, the service is actually really good. It like works. It's very. It's probably of all of the streaming services, it's probably by far the best. AWS is definitely no joke. That's not AWS. That's AWS is Amazon. But I don't even know what do they use for that. Do you know
Say
some?
say again.
What do they use for Stadia? What cloud infrastructure do they use?
Oh, it's the Google Cloud
It's the
infrastructure.
Google Cloud
Yeah,
infrastructure.
they have
Okay.
their own infrastructure like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. They're very they all have had their own like cloud services for various other things outside of gaming for a long time. And the other things that they've had have been always have been like government contracting, that kind of stuff, and been very, very competitive in those areas. Now, Amazon and Microsoft have been the two most, probably the biggest ones. I haven't really kept up with it too much recently, but they've been the two biggest ones when it came to locking down those government contracts, those federal contracts. But Google has done a little bit of it, but they've kind of they've all had them for a long time, and they've always been very like if people like, so I saw some people online thinking, oh well, maybe Microsoft can go buy Google's infrastructure and Stadia tech from them. It's just like, no, no, absolutely not. It's not happening. Microsoft has Azure. They don't want Google Cloud. And even if they did want Google Cloud, Google would not be willing to part with it, considering how much money they make off of it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with that being said, man, recipe Stadia. Recipes. You got me the lighthouse a couple of times in Destiny. You helped a lot of people
Oh yeah, because it
circumvent
was like super
right.
easy
Oh
on
yeah, bro.
Stadia.
It was super easy on Stadia, bro. You felt like you were playing against children over there. It was so fun. You got me a couple of those, and it was great. They actually helped me get my flawless title over there, so I'm not mad about it. But moving on from that slow mo, we got a little Xbox news and some stuff to talk about. Um, Xbox is looking and pressing to and being rumored to be pressing into purchasing more studios over in Japan. Now this is nothing new. The funny thing for me is a lot of the different rumors are being cited from articles that's like 2 years ago, which is kind of
Mhm.
which is crazy. I'm saying like, wait, we are literally the rumors and speculations is out of freaking hand. But let's just go along with it for a while. We know Phil Spencer is pretty much spending at least he's taking like one or two trips a year over to Japan. So we know he's doing it for a reason. We also know that's how we ended up getting stuff like Persona that's coming to, Xbox Game Pass very soon in the future. We're seeing a lot of other JRPGs coming over to the Xbox platform. And that's what we kind of thought that this stuff was going to be, but it looks like a lot of people think that they are actually going out and going to purchase other studios, especially since they already own a Japanese studio in Tego Gameworks now, and that kind of opens up the gate for them to be able to purchase more. So when you see this, all of these different conversations and the rumors around this, what is it that you think? What do you think Xbox is trying to do in Japan in particular?
I mean, I think they're being pretty transparent with what they want to do. They want to buy. Japanese developers and publishers, and I know there's been some talk in regards to why bother doing that when you don't like your
I
um
love your take on this, by the way, yesterday. So you definitely got to dive into that.
yeah, absolutely. So there's people who kind of feel like, well, why bother doing that if Xbox gamers don't buy Japanese games? Well, there's multiple reasons for why they're going to do it. One is because they want to increase their presence in other regions. You know, Japanese people buy Japanese games. Shocker, right?
Shocker.
So if you're trying to get a better presence in Eastern countries and in the Eastern region of the world, you need to start having games that people in that region of the world enjoy. And if by you're not going to do that by um, having Western companies make Japanese games because that's just not what they're interested in doing. And of course, they're all about creative freedom, so they're not going to force the developers to make anything. But if you acquire a developer that's already of quality and makes those kind of games, then now you're actually, fulfilling, those kind of needs. And then furthermore, when it comes to do Xbox gamers buy Japanese games? Um, you gotta look at what what it actually means to kind of have like these games come on the platform. You see Phil Spencer go overseas once a year,
Hmm.
and then he'll go over and he'll sit with publishers and developers, and he'll rub shoulders with them, build communications, and build a relationship with them. The purpose is for him to get those games on his platform. Now, even those companies understand that like your their games on Xbox aren't going to sell at the same percentage that they sell on PlayStation or the
Right.
Nintendo Switch. That's just unrealistic. But the reason why you do that is because you're trying to build up a following in a whole new ecosystem with people who don't know of these games like that. And it's really that simple. It's you're I did a live stream earlier yesterday, and I was talking about how my introduction into Japanese RPGs was, and how like if I probably would have never given Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 3 a shot. Or those games wouldn't have been day one purchases for me. Would not have been day one purchases for me if I hadn't played Final Fantasy 4,
Right.
which was Final Fantasy 2 for me as a kid. And it's like that introduction into what our RPG was, because that was my very first RPG, introduced me to a whole new genre of games. And so while other people have been their very first RPG was Final Fantasy 7, and some people, got fooled by the marketing, didn't really understand that that was the kind of game it was supposed to be, yada yada yada. For myself, Final Fantasy 7 was a guaranteed cop. It's the reason why I bought a PlayStation 1. Because originally, that was the first Final Fantasy game to go to PlayStation. Prior to that, all the games were going to the Nintendo. So for me, this was like exactly what I was looking for. And you don't build up this kind of following on Xbox unless you start to put those games on there and people start to look for those games on there. There's already a following for Japanese games in the Western Hemisphere. There's always a following for that. But those games are on other platforms. When people who are fans of, say, Atlas, for example, when they look for Atlas games, they don't look on an Xbox for Atlas games.
Hmm.
They're looking on the Nintendo Switch and they're looking on the PlayStation because Shin Megami Tensei goes to the Nintendo, and primarily Persona games go to PlayStation. So it's like, of course, when you start to put those games on Xbox, you're trying to build to a whole new audience, because for people who already knew about Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5 Royal and all those other games, they already either own them on PlayStation or they chose to not get it on PlayStation because they didn't want it. And so now you're gonna have a new audience that's gonna be actually attempting to get into these games and try them for the first time on Xbox. And some of them are gonna be like, "It ain't for me,"
Right.
and then some of them are gonna be like, "Oh, bet that was great. I I'm gonna buy the next Atlas game." And so that's how you build a following. So like the whole idea of like, well, why would they want Japanese developers? But this is why. You know, like it's because you're building a following. The reason why PlayStation and this went to my whole thing about like why does PlayStation get timed exclusives for games in their region, you know, Japanese games, like Square Enix's games. Why do they do that? Well, they do that because they don't want people to buy games on Xbox. They want you to buy the game. They want you to buy the game on PlayStation. When it's offered on Xbox, then for them, they need to show incentives so that people don't buy it. Now, there'll be people will be like, well, it's a great question. At least I thought it was a great question. If there's this narrative that Xbox gamers don't like those kind of games, so they're not going to buy those kind of games, then why does Sony waste their money? Because they'll be wasting their money not on marketing those games, because that's just basics what you do. You market products so that people know they're coming out. But you are like, why would they spend the additional money that they spend to actually get them timed exclusive? Now they don't do it for all the games,
Right.
right? But Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth, and the third one, they've done those. Final Fantasy 16, Forspoken. They're now getting in the marketing deals that they do. They're now adding in additional things to make sure that, like, hey, these games, these Japanese games, Resident Evil Village, doesn't go on Game Pass day one. Why do you do these things if the Xbox community don't buy games?
Yeah.
It's because they know that they will buy games. And the more that these games show up on the other platform, the more of a following these quality titles will build up. Therefore, the more people give it 4 or 5 years, the more people will actually enjoy it. Here's the reverse of that, right? BioWare is my favorite developer. Well, used to be.
It
Um,
still is.
the, maybe depends on how they do. Um, the very first BioWare game on PlayStation, I believe, was Dragon Age Origins. That was the first one that they released under EA as a publisher. So it's got to be the first one that was on PlayStation. Didn't do that well. Didn't do that well for multiple reasons, sales wise. One, the game was pretty buggy. EA didn't give BioWare a lot of time to put the game out. Two, PlayStation community didn't know who the heck BioWare was. What did they know about Jade Empire? What did they know about Knights of the Old Republic on the original Xbox? They didn't play those games. So, like, the people got to understand that the majority of gamers don't own multiple consoles like us in the hardcore community. Most gamers buy one console and that's it. That's the only console they're going to own for the entire generation. So the BioWare was new to these people, but by the end of that generation, by the end of the PS3's life cycle, when Mass Effect 3 came out, sales at that point looking great. And it's because of the popularity of the series, of the genre on that platform, and the developer. You have to build up a following. And just you just can't do that just off of just like, hey, we just got X developer. And so now all the games that they sold on Nintendo Switch, they're going to get the same exact sales on the Xbox Series X. No, that's not how that works. It's just not how it works, man. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Nope, I'm with you. In general, it just ultimately comes back to um they know, okay, so they already know a number that's in their head. Like they know if 70% or 50 or 60% of the people buy their games on PlayStation, another 10% buy them, or 15-20% buy them on PC or Switch or whatever other system they release it on. They pretty much probably already know that Xbox is the lower common denominator,
Mhm.
but
They know about the install base on the
yeah,
platform,
they
and they
know.
know it by
They
yeah.
know, they know. Trust me. I mean, they got smart people out there that bean counters that look to see exactly what their risk assessment is for releasing stuff on consoles. And that's also, you know, you got to kind of think about it. That's also why you see a lot of the smaller developers not put their games like on console on Xbox. Or even on PS4 to be that says it's not mutually exclusive just the Xbox. You know, these smaller teams sometimes they just have just enough budget to do something like that, or they're being paid from that developer and saying, okay, well, if you put it on our platform, we'll flip some of the development costs, and that's why you'll see stuff like this. So there is reasons why games don't show up places, but for the most part, they know what platform is a more dominant platform for these games in general. When you see a game like what's the name of that game? That just cause it just hit PlayStation. Octopath Traveler. I don't even know. Did it even hit PlayStation yet, Slow Mo?
Octopath Traveler 1 is not on
It's
PlayStation.
still not on
Octopath
play. It's still not on PlayStation. So
no.
it's on PC, Switch, and
It's on everything
Xbox.
but
Everything
PlayStation,
but PlayStation. That just lets me know, kinda to a point, that
and now Octopath Traveler 2 is gonna be on
it's
everything
gonna be
but
on
the
everything.
on everything no, everything well, so far, everything but the Xbox. Although, like, it didn't go to Xbox first initially anyway,
It went to
so
Switch initially first, then the PC, then the Xbox.
right, so it's gonna probably show up on Xbox maybe a year or 2 from now.
Right, exactly. So I just always look at the narrative and I'm like, you know, there's no foul play or anything that's coming from it. It's just that developers know where their games sell at, and they're going to put them there, and they're going to prioritize, you know, the platforms that's going to give them the biggest bang for their buck. If it's putting them out day and date on those systems, absolutely. If it's not, then they're going to do what pretty much happens with Sony. And the other thing is Sony has really good relationships with these studios and stuff too. So, but I do think Xbox is doing an amazing job getting is what they're actually getting. You know, there was a point in time where a game like Persona we never thought would ever come to a Xbox. Like
Right, right.
so it's a
And we know what that is? That's Atlas looking at like their sales and looking at the data and statistics and seeing where their sales are coming from, and seeing Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal be the highest selling of those games, and seeing where exactly those sales came from,
yeah.
and being like, oh man, well shoot, if the majority of the people buying our games, just by sheer population, by sheer numbers of gamers and stuff like that, if the majority of them are in the Western Hemisphere, well, let's look what else is out in the Western Hemisphere. There's a bigger PC community in the Western Hemisphere than is in Japan, and the Xbox is actually something that's relevant in North America, and well, in America period, because it's South America as well. But absolutely zero presence whatsoever in Japan. So yeah, let's put the games out there on multiple platforms too. So it's just like, I mean, we saw it when we would like send out surveys and stuff and be like, do you want to see our games on more platforms? Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Shout out to the homeboy Erodimus with the 5 gifted subs. Make sure
Oh, shout out to Rodimus.
shout out to Erodimus, man. Shout out to you guys. Make sure you have your if you see the gifted membership thing pop up, it looks like True Serum got one of them, Only on Xbox got one, Texas Lean got one, and Mike Andy got one. And then yeah, shout out to the homeboy Hustle and Motivate. He picked up one too, man. So you guys make sure you thank the homie Erodimus for doing that for the community. That dude is he's a saint. He's an Xbox lawyer by trade, and we love him here. But yeah, so you got anything else you want to say around the demise of everybody thinking that it's something against Xbox when it comes to these games in Japan and everything? I just think they're doing an amazing job when it comes to that. What else do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't call it I think they are making progress. They're making more
And
progress
well,
now than they've made ever
when you
before.
when
So
you
good.
made no progress and you made in the progress, that's the way I look. I mean, yeah, is it super amazing? I mean, it's to be expected at this point. You're a video game console maker. You would think that you would have that type of diverse content for everybody to play inside of your ecosystem. But I will also say this is like the whole, if you only had two people playing your game and you doubled it, now you got four, that's still 100%. This is beyond 100%. This is like 600, 700%. Because we were talking about how they should pull out of Japan like not even half a decade ago. In the middle of last generation, where Xboxes were selling like 25 units per week, and we saw those MPDs over in Japan, and everybody was like, "Why are y'all still there? What are we doing? Why?" It's like embarrassing. At that point, it was embarrassing to see the numbers coming out of Japan. But now, look at them now. The fact that this just lets you know that there are much smarter people working at Microsoft than the people that think they got a PhD in business acumen when it comes to Twitter. Because Microsoft would have gave up a long time ago, they wouldn't be selling hundreds of thousands. They broke 1 million systems over in Japan. We never thought we would hear that happen. Shout out to Stanley Buffleton with the $5 super chat. It's not just JRPGs that are selling on Xbox, it's Japan games in general. Yeah, you're definitely
True. Yeah.
he's definitely true about that. And shout out to
Mhm.
Erodimus. We came to a consensus. He was like, hit the like button and kill that Destiny gameplay. I told him 50.
Yes, please.
I told him $50 would do it. He told me hell no. I said give me 15, and I said I'll do it. So I'm about to kill the Destiny gameplay.
Good. Get some gameplay that's relevant to the topics, man.
Well, I already got for the other two topics, so it was going to happen anyway. But so I love Erodimus dropping. Yeah, if he would have dropped the 50, I would have stopped. I would have never ever. Well, that would have been hard to do. But I would literally, for the show, if Erodimus dropped a $50 super chat, I would literally never play Destiny gameplay ever again on DPS.
This is a lie.
No, I would do it. Seriously, I would do it. If he dropped
Why people gotta pay money to get you to stop
no.
playing the same tired gameplay?
No, because it's different stuff. No, if Erodimus did that, I would literally. You know what that would do, Slow Mo? That's almost like him doing the min-maxer build for you, where he makes you go out and play a game. If he dropped something like that, that would literally make me go out and find another game to just play to get content for the podcast. So I would actually play other games. He said I just dropped another 45. Listen, I appreciate you, bro. But if you drop that 50, if you drop a 50, I would never, ever put another piece of Destiny content on this channel when it comes to the podcast. It would never happen again. But moving on.
Yeah, I ain't believing that, but
I believe it because Erodimus will hold me to it if I did do it. Moving on to the next topic. Can you reach the finals? Slow-mo? I knew nothing about this until you sent it to me. As soon as I looked at it and it said X DICE and developers, I was like, oh, this is going to probably be cool. So I started looking at the trailer, and oh boy, I was like, this is everything that I wanted. Everything that I wanted in the game. It looks so cool. So I didn't know anything about it. So please share with the team. Hear me put the stuff up. Let me put the trailer up because I was super excited to see this video. But why don't you tell everybody what the finals is?
What the finals is kind of like it's a little bit of a different take on a arena shooter. The time to kill is a bit longer. Um, it's I would say it's very rough. Okay. Look, before I get to how rough it is, I'll explain. So you get three teams of three, and the goal is to get these money caches all along this like very vertical map. The only map I've played so far looks like an Italian looking city, but yeah, by the way, I am in the early access for it. I can't show gameplay or screenshots, but I can talk about it and talk about it on social media. So that's what I'm doing. Um,
Yes. Yes, you are.
it's it's so you have like this map and you gotta go. You can steal like these caches from other teams, and as well as you can get the caches yourself and turn them in. The gunplay, here's the deal. This is why I said where the game is pretty rough. Actually, let me get to the positives first. The positives are I like that it's a unique take on the like very you don't get usually more than two teams in a multiplayer game. So having three teams is already to me a great idea, and I like that they started with it. Um, the destruction is all it's the destruct you literally see a city fall apart.
Oh, that's
Like you can see grenades hit buildings and sides of buildings explode and um roofs fall, fall in and all kinds of stuff. Like it's the destruction is really good. I will say that. Um, but this is where I get into how rough the game is. If you are a controller player, it's pretty rough for you right now.
okay.
Um, the fact to say controller support is an afterthought is a
Oh, really? It is? Oh, that kills it,
bro.
bro.
Uh, in the settings, they don't even tell you what the controls are for the controller. So like, I can't go into the settings and say, all right, what's like I know what's shooting and what's ADS and what's reload just based off of like your typical default setup for a controller. But there's nothing in the settings that actually shows you that.
Mm-hmm.
In the settings, like it's pretty bare bones for mouse and keyboard too. So like I've actually look, this is how bad it is for controller. The controller has no it's not crossfire bad, but it's pretty bad right now. The controller has no acceleration, no aim acceleration. There is no way of like it's looking up is too um it's too sensitive. Looking down is too sensitive. And then looking side to side is not sensitive enough. So it's really difficult to aim and shoot at people with a controller. You have to click in your left thumbstick to run, and then hold it in instead of just
Oh,
clicking
yeah.
it
I hate
to
that. I hate toggle to run, you mean?
yes.
I
So
hate that.
it's there's no just toggle to run. It's just or just every time you move the option to every time you move just run. So like I'm actually playing the game in mouse and keyboard. And for anyone who knows me to know that I would rather play a mouse and keyboard than play it with controller, that just tells you how bad the controller support is as of this time. So they got some work to do. Um but it's not like I I I I can't say it's too early. I've only done 2 matches, but I can't say like whether I like it or not yet because it's still too new. But it's got potential. It's definitely got potential. The developers here, like they come from a good pedigree, right?
Right.
And they and you see signs of that, and it's got potential with its destruction, with the idea of it, to begin with. But eh, I can't.
It's got the bone.
It's
It's
so,
it's got the bones of a Battlefield game when it comes to the destructions and stuff like that. But it's just got a little bit
yeah,
more going on when it comes to like the
right,
overall. It basically is a game that's not taking itself serious at all, but it looks really freaking good. Like
yeah, yeah.
Arodimus just said, he said it's he said I don't know why he said it's a flashy PlayStation looking game. He said it's like a
Weather
PlayStation.
effects are amazing
Oh wait,
too.
well
Like
that's the one thing they do
sometimes you'll be in the
well.
map and like it's raining, and you see the weather effects as hitting the pavement. The visuals is it's a pretty game for a multiplayer shooter. Like you don't really see too many games look like this, especially this early,
I know
because
one.
this is pre-alpha. Like this isn't even like hey, this is alpha footage, or we're in beta right now. Nah, this isn't none of that. This is just early access. Like you, and a lot of this stuff is going to change, which is to be expected. This is the reason why I'm not trying to be so harsh on the fact that it has a lot of rough edges, especially with the controls. Mouse and keyboard is pretty fluid.
Nice.
And this is coming from someone who absolutely hates playing mouse and keyboard, but I can move around the map pretty well as a mouse and keyboard noob with no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you like playing mouse and keyboard, you probably won't have any issues with it. But all that said, like it's got the foundation, I think. I would like to see a little bit more than just the same map over and over again. But again, like I said, early access. Um, and also, they're probably going to need to have more than one mode. So this mode where like the cash out mode, where you're getting the caches, you're stealing caches from everyone else, everyone's running and gunning. Oh, that's great, right? That's going to get old really quickly. You need to come up with you're going to have TDM. You're going to have like a control point kind of thing. You're going to have to develop these kind of modes eventually. So hopefully these are things that they got working on in the background, that by the time they come out with their next early access, they can show us a little bit more, kind of flesh things out, and definitely in the settings and make it so things are people can actually have some options to kind of change things around. Another thing I noticed, and this is, I mean, not really a problem, but um I got the game pretty much maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on epic settings, 1440p. I'm getting over 100 frames per second, and I'm only using up about 7 gigs of VRAM and 16 gigs of memory. So this is going to be, and it looks good. So this is going to be a game that, like, if in early access it looks like this, and it's not, it's these X Dice devs have got this game well optimized. That's what I would say. It's already well optimized for this short period of time. Because usually when I play a game that's early access, it's like using way more than what it needs to use.
Oh yeah, you talk about when you pull up your task
Yeah,
manager and look at your performance and
yeah.
you're like, yo, why is my CPU running at 100% utilization?
Right,
Why
right,
is my
right. Everything
RAM
is
maxed out?
right. Everything's maxed out. Everything is your temps are super high. It's like everything is running. Basically, nothing's optimized. So like your system is basically compensating for that lack of optimization. And I mean, like I said, epic settings for the game, and I think it's like only 90% of my 3070 Ti is being used right now.
Oh
My
wow.
my CPU is a i7 9700K. Pretty old CPU by today's standards is fine. It's looking at like 70%, usually like anywhere between 60 and 70% utilization. And the temps are a little bit higher than what I normally would care for, but fine.
Right.
So like like I said, it's a game that's got a good foundation, and I don't know if they ever said like if it was coming, if this was a game was coming to more than just PC.
That's a good. Well, yeah, it doesn't say anything on the web page. It just talks about Steam. I mean, I could see at a later date. I mean, but then again, it just really depends on how long they're talking about leaving this in alpha.
Right.
Because
Right. Also, the respawns are too long. The
oh,
respawns are like 15
good
seconds.
God!
Yeah.
So how
For a
big?
huge,
Yeah, I'm about to
you're
say how
fighting in
big
a
are the
huge city.
maps?
It's like a huge city.
Like in between, like the size of like a battlefield map or something like that.
Yeah. So like let's say yeah. No, not that big. That's too big. A
Well,
Battlefield
as I
map,
said, like in, I was like in the
especially
middle.
Battlefield 2042. Like I would say bigger than, definitely bigger than. Okay, take Halo big team battle maps.
Those are pretty big maps.
Yeah, so around that size.
Oh, okay, that's not that bad. Yeah, the thing that kind of like excites me because I've always liked the dice stylization of how they present their games. Even as much as we give 2042 crap, and 2042 is actually a lot better now. There is something about the way that their games look. They have a particular look that really stands out, really looks good, even in a cartoony fashion, still has like a grounded reality to it when it comes to like, oh, I can literally see this being something if it was like super bright outside and everything was like shaded and everything. It's just like they have a way of just making their games look very appealing to the eye. And the first thing I saw when I saw like you was talking about the destruction and stuff, I was like, as soon as I saw the destruction in the video, I was like, okay, gotta go to the website, gotta sign up for. Well, then I was like, oh, it's gonna send me to Steam, gotta get into the playtest, and I'm waiting for my email or waiting for Steam to tell me that I'm in. Um,
How are you with mouse and keyboard? Because I don't think I've ever really like seen you play a game with not
actually pretty decent. I just prefer because the way
controller.
I prefer controller because the way that I get like for some reason when I'm holding a mouse, I get carpal tunnel in my
Mm.
wrists, and that's kind of why I
Mhm.
stopped doing it because I'm perfectly fine with my fingers and stuff, but my hand resting on top of the mouse the way it is. Maybe someone made a suggestion to me that I should get like one of those little arm part, like the little wrist raisers where it raises your arm up, your wrist up a little bit.
Yeah, I have that. I have that for my wrist. A little. It's
The
like a
the little
little.
palm
It's like
thing.
a rest pad for your
Yeah,
wrist. Yeah,
a couple people
I have
mentioned
I
that
have
to
a
me.
rest pad in front of my keyboard as well.
Yeah, I had now in front of my keyboard. I do have one, and I that's why I'm able to sit down and type on my keyboard as long as I can because it
Well,
comes
I
with
forgot
one.
to explain this. So the three teams, right? Like you have 3 rounds. So there's like you're extracting this money out, and you're killing other people to get the money and to bring it to your location. But there's 3 rounds to this, so it's not just like one round and that's it. And then you go back to the menu and you start again. There's 3 rounds with your team of three. So
Hmm.
like so it kind of allows you to kind of like maybe build up a strategy with some of your teammates, or like kind of
Is
and
it a
see
mix of
which of the other
teams?
team is like, really competitive, really good, or if they're trash, then
What's the
so be it.
most teams can be on the field at one time?
3 teams of three,
Three
so
teams
it's
of three.
9 play. It's like I said, it's a map about probably about the size of like big team battle maps in Halo Infinite, with 9 people total.
That actually, yeah, it did.
But it's very fast
Well,
paced.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you
I'm
see
looking at
people moving very quickly.
well, you're looking at
Yeah,
the traversal, like zip lines and stuff like
zip
that.
lines. Yes, it's very vertical. It's very vertical. So like people are zip lining up to the rooftops. They got like foam.
Yeah, I see the little phone.
barriers.
Yeah, I see
That
those.
could be used in various different ways. The riot phone could be used to kind of protect you if you're like caught in a bad position from other enemies, or it could be used to kind of incapacitate other your enemies and help you bring them down. I used that in one match where like a teammate hit the guy with foam to kind of keep him boxed in because we were trying to steal the money out of their cash, and I killed the guy. We got the money. We got up out of there. So it's just it's it, it's a game that's definitely going to mix a lot of gunplay with strategy. I just think that if the reason why I asked whether it was just going to be a game that's just on PC or not may determine how much the work they put in on the controller support. Because me not even seeing it in the menu kind of gave me pause. I was like, so like you got controller support, but you don't even talk about it. Like you don't even have it in the menu that show me what it look like. You know, like what the controller layout actually is, even though it's pretty much default layout, right?
Right. Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me.
So
It's like I would like I'm
if
good.
this,
Go ahead.
what I was gonna say was that if this is coming out on Xbox and PlayStation, then it's definitely going to be something they're going to work on, you know, to get the controller support working correctly at some point. But
Yeah,
if it's just going to be a PC game, it could very well be like a Valorant, which is super popular, one of the top 3 games played on PC, like all the time. Like is Valorant has like I think I correct
control
me if I'm wrong,
co-
but I feel like 500,000 people play Valorant every day,
controller support on that
and
game is an afterthought. I don't even think it has
there
it.
is it's
It doesn't
non-existent.
even
There's a
have it. Yeah.
mod, yeah, it's a mod, a really poor mod for controller support. So you really have to work on that. And I think that uh, hopefully, hopefully that's something that they got in the works. Because I would love to play this with people that like I like playing games with, right? You know, but a lot of those people aren't on PC, or I mean, they are on PC, but like
Two barriers, keyboard and mouse.
they're like me, where they're not on PC to play mouse and keyboard. They on PC with their controllers, you know. So that's because that's what what it is about PC. It's about choice. I would like to play with a controller, please.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, it's like if I sit down for maybe 2-3 hours, I can get back into the swing of playing with a keyboard and mouse. I'm, I'm not great, but I'm competent to the point where I can do it. But I already know with my competitive mindset, the moment I get killed because the mouse and my eyes don't do what I want them to do, I'm gonna be like, "Where's my
Mm,
controller?" Because
yeah,
it's muscle memory at that point, and it's cool. But yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, "Yeah, this looks really really cool." And the thing about it is, even the stuff you were talking about that is kind of like downfalls to it right now being alpha, which it's in alpha. You're willing to
pre-alpha.
overlook a lot of stuff when it's in
Yeah,
alpha.
they just call it early access, so I would
Yeah,
say it's pre-alpha.
yeah,
I mean,
pre-alpha.
look, there's a crowd watching you as you play, and even the crowd is like,
Oh, really?
yeah, they there's a even the crowd is like an outline of people, and you just hear cheers. So it's not even like
Right.
like it's that early in the game, you know, and everything. Although like as far as visuals, I don't know what this is running on. I'll probably check it like after the stream, but like visually, it still looks good. It's just that like the little details, like they got stands on the outside of the arena, and it's just like yeah, they don't really care about right at this point in having like realistic people sitting out there cheering. It's just like we'll just have blue outlines. It's fine.
Right. Right. Exactly. So, I do want to go back to that conversation we were talking about earlier because I almost forgot about it about grounded and like Sea of Thieves and stuff like that. In the direction that Xbox is going, and do we think do we think that this is a good direction they're going in when it comes to just releasing the games and building them over time. It seems like it's done really, really well when it comes to games like Sea of Thieves and Grounded. Grounded just came out of their beta. Sea of Thieves has seen multiple updates over the course of the 4 years it's been out now. And then Anonymous asked, he wanted to hear a little bit more about your thoughts on the game of the year version of Grounded. What do you think?
I think I talked about Grounded a whole lot
No, no, no,
already in the
no.
early.
I'm not saying that. That's what that we just told him to go back to the beginning of the show to listen to it. But what do you
Yeah.
think? What do you think of the direction of Xbox when it goes to their games as a service and launching them in the state that they do, and basically waiting for a full package to come out like Grounded, a year to 2 years later?
I think that some games should have been. I think a lot of people laugh at Grounded, and it's fine. Like it's whatever. Like if it's not for you, it's not for you, right? But I think it was smart for them to make it an early access game because it kind of set expectations.
Right.
It wa- when I first played it, when I forced me to do that stream,
Hmm.
it's pretty bare bones. It's a little bit more fleshed out now than it was then, but they've also had a lot of feedback from the community that was playing the game and enjoying the game and knew what that community wanted. I think that they would have been better off with some games like Stadia Decay 2, like Sea of Thieves, of being early access games as well. But that's fine for games that are multiplayer games, multiplayer experiences. It's cool to have those games go into early access. Some of these other games, like say like Avowed or Fable, you don't want early access for that kind of game. That's a single player, RPG experience. But I think Ground is probably going to ultimately, in the end, be successful. I think it's going to have its own community, more along the lines of like Sea of Thieves, but maybe not as big of a community as Sea of Thieves currently has. But I think it'll be fine. It's uh people are streaming it and having fun, but again, like a lot of that stuff, I would say is like, as I was saying before about like non-scripted fun. Usually, those kind of things are only fun when it's happening with friends.
Mm.
And if you don't have friends to do it, then you're not going to partake. So it's just going to be one of those games where, um, 2 years from now, we'll be watching E3 2025. That's not 2 years from now. 2024, and Xbox will in the middle of the show have and there'll be another expansion for Grounded.
Mm.
And the most majority of people will be like, why are they still showing this game? But for the people that really care about Grounded, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, the new expansion's coming great.
Well, yeah, it's just I kind of look at it as the same thing that happened with Sea of Thieves. Anytime you get these major updates to the game, a lot of people come back to those games and like to play them.
Mm,
It's going to be the same thing with Grounded. I mean, honestly, I do. As much as people poo poo those games and they look at them like, well, why do you want to play this? Like, sometimes I think about going back and playing games like Sea of Thieves because I did play 8 hours of it the first day it was out, and I did play it with random people. I didn't even play it with friends. I played it with random people in just a random lobby that I joined, and I played 8 hours of it that day, and it was fun. But I looked at it like it's bare bones, and it was like, how much am I actually going to want to play of this? But then they do come out with DLCs and stuff, and they come out with more expansions and stuff, and come out with more story beats, and I'm like, okay, it kind of makes me more interested to jump into it. It honestly, it goes back to the same thing you said about the finals. If you have people to play those type of games with, you'll be more um not resistant to playing them and stuff. And I
I think
think
I
that's
think
the
the
biggest
finals is a
thing.
bit different though because it's
Well for me and you it's different because we live in that realm
true,
with
true,
those type of
true.
games. I'm just talking about in general, some people I don't care about first person shooters, but they'll play a first person shooter because their friends are playing it. Versus me and you, we see something like the finals. We're like, oh, we could play it by ourselves. We could play it with our friends. We could do any of that type of stuff. And I think that's kind of where a game like Sea of Thieves and Grounded is like for the people that love games like that, they're going to jump into it whenever something new comes out, and then they're just going to convince their friends. And it seems like a lot of people are doing that with Grounded, and I know a lot of people done that with people with Sea of Thieves. So I think Microsoft is heading in an amazing direction. We may not like the way they got there by spoon feeding us content over the course of the last 2 to 3 years when it comes to these two different games, but it seems like the recipe, as much as we don't like it, is kind of working for those games. The problem is we just don't want to see that across all of their games. We want to see fully complete games. We don't want to see more master cheeks and more Halo Infinite stuff happening out here. But
Yeah,
that
there's been a lot of talk about Halo Infinite
oh
too. Look,
yeah,
I don't want
Jesus.
to
Do you do
look.
you do you really
I
want to
don't
do
want.
you want to dive into that?
I, all I'm gonna say is I told you so.
I told everybody.
All I'm gonna say is I told y'all so. When people was telling me no slow mo, no, they're not going to do a whole new campaign. They're not going to do a whole new game.
hmm
And what's all the talk out there right now? They're making a whole new
A
game,
whole new game.
not even on the Slip Space engine.
Yep.
Now I don't know about that part, even though it looks like even just starting to come around on that part. I guess the sources are trying to say, but look, I'm telling you, this is what I'm trying to have been something that I said on Crossfire. Shout out to Crossfire a few weeks ago, and I was talking with K Asante and Crusader 3456, and they were disagreeing with me about that like we're not getting an expansion to Halo Infinite. You're not getting an expansion to Halo Infinite, bro. Like that story, they're going to continue the story, but it's going to be on a whole new game. It's not going to be based off of the framework of Halo Infinite enough. They want to get away from Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's toxic.
hmm
They want a whole new Halo, Halo 7, with a whole new name. And then maybe people will give it a shot because they're not getting people aren't giving Halo Infinite a shot like that no more unless you're like super super hardcore Halo fans like ourselves.
hmm
Um, but um, yeah, it's gonna be a new game, bruh. It's nah, it's just gonna be uh what I the whole thing with it, the whole like them using Unreal, I think, or in the fact that there's talking now that certain affinities battle royale is going to be on Unreal as well. Like they're just going to junk slip space altogether. I don't believe that.
hmm
I don't. They put too much work into it at this point, and I think it would take more time for them to. It's not as easy as copy and paste stuff into Unreal Engine. It's just that's not how this is going to work whatsoever. It doesn't work like that. So they're going to have to do probably. I would say it would probably be more work for them to switch the Unreal Engine at this point, and then come out with that battle royale and come out with a new game, than to just complete Slip Space Engine. You know, all the technical debt withstanding,
hmm
and just make the game like that. Like just it would take longer to do it all in Unreal, even though it once they made that, if they pulled that band-aid off, it just went Unreal. If they would have to have create a very modified version of Unreal that also worked with a lot of the tools that they use for Halo, and that have been around since Bungie's days.
Right.
And I just don't. I mean, look, I'm no developer. I can't say for certain. I just don't think that's very feasible. But I do think that their direction now is not continuing Halo Infinite.
Right.
Like, I mean, they ain't gonna shut the servers off on you. You ain't gonna be just like trying to load the game up one day and it's like, nah, it's over. Um, but you're at some point they're gonna move on from it. Multiplayer will still work, of course, and but I do think that like they understand that like there's certain Infinity's battle royale isn't really for the hardcore Halo player. It's for the new age gamer. And you got if you really want Halo to be a game that's going to be relevant in the future, you need to start catering to a little bit to the people who didn't grow up with Halo the way we did.
Right.
And those people don't give a crap about arena shooters. They just don't. They're the old man shooter as they feel.
No man.
Um they care about battle royale, and we don't. A lot of us don't care about battle royale, but it is what it is. What they're trying to do is care to both parties, and I think that in doing so, you can do that with the battle royale, but you need to make the campaigns actually something that the hardcore Halo community can actually feel is quintessential Halo, and but while also being a bit more modern. Like you can't listen to the hard lines that be like no sprint. Like shut up, get out of here. You know, it's freaking 2022. You need to have sprint in the damn game. But
I couldn't believe people
um
were arguing for that when they said it.
I know,
It's like
but
you like moving slow.
but but it still needs to feel like Halo. What I would hate is for because Halo Infinite's the best playing as far as gunplay goes. Halo that 343 has ever done. I would hate for them to lose that progress
Right.
and and like let it just get lost in the shuffle of these other changes that they're making. Like I would rather hope they build upon the foundation that they have there with that instead of just because all the other issues with it, because the fact that they lack content, they lack the ability to deliver on content consistently, that oh well, it's all bad. Like don't, like as the saying goes, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like you don't need to get rid of everything.
Right.
Keep the things that work. And what works is the gunplay. What works is the the way they have things set up with the limited sprint, the limited ADS, the the guns feel good. The gunplay feels great. So keep that. Keep that foundation and just work on everything else.
Yeah.
Complete this engine because frankly, you you dropped an unfinished game with an unfinished engine. What did you expect to happen? So of course development is slow as hell. So that's all I gotta say. I don't want to,
No, you're good, man.
people gonna be in the comments like slow. There's another slow old rant about Halo Infinite.
Hey
I'm
man,
like,
Halo Infinite is very deserving of everything that you've been saying. Though we've been harping on it, and like you said, I think the day that they announced all of the stuff that was happening with Halo, that was the first thing we said. We was like, well, you said it first, and I just went along with it. I was like, you're absolutely right. Don't expect to see any more story beat content for Halo Infinite when it comes to
right,
major stuff. Like I don't think they're gonna abandon it. I do think you're gonna probably get some stuff. But when it comes to like major story beats, stuff like the stuff that you saw at the end of Halo Infinite, I don't think you're gonna see that in this game. You're gonna see that's gonna be something that's gonna be reserved for the next one. Because the game is so damaged that and I think some people need to kind of realize that there is a difference between saying that I like Halo Infinite and I enjoy the gameplay to really understanding how much damage they truly did to this game by doing the decisions that they made. Because people, especially nowadays, there is so many games out there that's competing for your time. And especially in a genre like Halo, where shooters are plentiful, You know, you really only get one chance to make a lasting impression, and the only reason that Halo still lives today is because of the name. If this was just a generic shooter, if this was like Splitgate that did something like this, people would have been turned around and said, "Oh, that game was trash," and that game would have died a gruesome death. But Halo does still have staying power. It does still have a name. People will still say that I want to play that game, and I definitely enjoyed my time around it. People like Slow Mo that's pissed off at the developers for things that they, did, said, and put into the game that really irritated him on so multitude of levels, he'll still go back and play the game once they fix the leadership issue. That's the power that Halo has. It still brings people back. The problem is they can't do it with this game. They got to move on from this game. And that's the one thing I always kept telling people, like, listen, as much as y'all like this game, Halo Infinite, the name is poison to a lot of people out there. And if they do decide to do this type of thing, that's probably the fastest way that they're going to get people more ingratiated back into like the graces of what they're trying to do in the future with the game. But let's also be for real. There's going to be a lot of people that nothing is going to bring them back to this. They did some pretty irreparable harm to the game by launching in the state that they did. Is it recoverable? Yes, but not for everybody. And I think people just need to kind of realize that. But moving on to the last thing, um slow-mo, all games aren't getting delayed. There are some games that are actually coming out on time. And guess what? They're actually coming out early. It's actually coming out a couple of weeks earlier than it normally is supposed to come out. Xbox has a game that's going to release.
I just want to say something real
Yeah,
quick
go ahead. Go ahead.
to about I just got some confirmation. Shout out to the homie Notorious Vic
Yeah.
for confirming this about the finals. It is coming out on current gen consoles, so more than
Nice.
likely they will fix the controller support at some point. It's just absolutely, non-existent at this point right now,
Oh,
which is
so
probably
it
the
will
reason why
get
they put it
better.
on what probably the reason why early access is only on PC,
Oh yeah, they
because
say
they
legit.
couldn't have early access, check your game out on Xbox and the controller support be as bad as it is right now.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, and that makes me happy because at least I know at some point the game will actually work with a controller. But oh yeah, shout out to you, True Sarah. You did say that Skull and Bones did get delayed again today. But but yeah, going back to the last thing, Scorn, a game that Slow-Mo does not care about because he is not going to play it because he is scared of these type of games. Actually has a release date and it actually got moved up. Slow-Mo, how surprised are you actually that all these games that keep getting delayed, but the one game, and this is more of a funny topic because it's just been a dead week outside of some of the stuff. How do you feel about the one game that you are super not interested in that's coming to Xbox inside of Game Pass, actually is not getting delayed, but is getting a buff. It's coming out a couple of weeks early. How do you feel about this, Slow-Mo?
Freaking hate it. I
Elaborate.
mean, like I've been dreading this game's release ever since shot was it Cat
Yep.
that did it?
Yep, he did it. That's
Uh,
all I'm waiting for.
I hope Cat I hope Cat drives a truck. I hope he gets diarrhea in traffic tomorrow. Okay, just for this, because like this is the one game that, like, every time I've seen trailers of it, I not only have I been disgusted, but I just felt like this looks boring. It doesn't look like anything at all. It does. I don't know what's going on. All the guns look like organic nastiness. There's like alien penis all over the place. I'm just like, what is happening right now? Why is this even a thing? I don't understand why people have any kind of uh affinity to play the game. I don't get it. It's disgusting to me. But I will give you guys 2 hours.
Oh, only two, not the customary three that you usually sometimes do.
But ain't no customary 3. I
I
will
said,
give you
I
guys.
every once in a while you get like grounded. You gave actually grounded. You gave four.
I don't recall that.
You did.
No, it was 2 hours, man.
Which was the game that somebody paid you to keep playing? Oh no, that was Bug
That was
Snacks.
Bugs and Axe. Yeah, someone
That was
paid me to keep
he
playing.
paid you $100 to keep playing.
That was very different.
Shout out to who was that? Vasily, I believe. I forget
No, no,
what's his
that was,
name. That was
man,
my
who was that?
hero, man. He was my hero that day.
Yeah, it's Rob says, "Wait, I thought you loved Alien." The movie, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm the one.
Um,
I'm the huge Alien fan in here, but Slow Mo, for some reason, doesn't want to get down with the Geiger aesthetic in this game.
are you gonna play this game?
Absolutely, I'm gonna be scared like heck while I play it too.
This is disgusting, yeah.
Look at it, man. What is this? But guess what? Slow Mo, of all the games that could possibly come out, you probably was like, please delay this game. And then they was like, not only are we not going to delay it, we're going to move it up. I know your heart sunk when you saw that. Shout out to Cat Daddy, man. So
This
are
is
we
a
gonna
game.
so let's set it up for the, and you know what, Slow Mo? What day is the 14th? The 14th falls on a what? Because that's the day it releases. October 14th. It comes out on a Wednesday. So Slow Mo, I will be there with you. I will come to, because I'm off that day. If you do it early enough, like do a lunchtime with Slow Mo, do it at lunchtime, I'll come in there and I'll be entertainment with you and do it with you. If
I don't
you
know if I want that
if you want
because
to
last time you did that with Buck Snacks, you was trying to get me to play it longer,
what,
and I don't want to play this any longer than I
and we
have to.
got it to happen, Slow Mo. It happened. Well, you set yourself up for that, because I asked you what would it take for you to be able to play this game longer. You said somebody
Oh,
super
I
chat.
know better now.
You
I know
said
better now.
that
I'm not.
somebody
I'm never
super.
saying that
You
again.
said somebody super chat $100. I will. Then here comes the boy. So no, man, I think that would be something cool. We can make that a DPS exclusive stream over on the DPS channel. Actually, no, we can't do it on the DPS channel because you can't get super chats over there yet. So we have to do it on your channel.
I don't even know if we can stream over there yet. I need
I
to
don't
double
know. I
check to
think,
make sure
yeah.
that we have that access. Because I thought there was something when we set the channel up. I thought there was something that I had to apply for, and I think I did. But I don't know if we got notice back. It's weird because it seems like you have to
Well,
have a channel that's up for
it's a new
a certain
channel.
period of time before you can stream, I
Well,
think.
it does.
But
It's not.
I know people
It's either
who've
time
got
or subscribers.
oh, okay. But I know people who have been streaming for, I mean, have had a channel for a long time and still can't stream. But then, I think our channel, at least at this point, um, has more subs than they do. So maybe that's a part of it too. I don't know. Either way, I would definitely rather just do it on my channel, make it a lunchtime. It was a lunchtime at Slow Mo thing. It
It
was
sure
a
was.
thing that was a channel membership thing, so I'll do it on my channel.
That's true.
Get it over with.
Massages. Massages are the best thing. Oh, it says it's a Friday. That's a Friday? Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm looking at September. Yeah, so it's a Friday. Yeah, I was looking at September. Yep. That would be cool. Yeah, we definitely need to do that. So yeah, Slow Mo. Outside of that, you want to get your channel members so we can give those people a holla?
Yeah, absolutely.
I will start.
Uh,
I have mine's up already, so I'll start it.
okay, go ahead.
So, as always, we want to shout out all the channel members that are a part of the channel. I'll even shout out the new ones that got joined today. Thanks to the homie Erodimus, and you're super cool, man. You're a cool cat. I appreciate everything you do for us. But let's say first we have Only on Xbox. Welcome to the family. Texas Lean, shout out to Hustle and Motivate. Mike Andy, Truth Serum, Ham Solo, Texas. I'm a Rich Swag Lord, Ramon Terrell, Hargy Chani, Sir Taz 117, Stardust Acero, Brap Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. We got Corey Hale, Cat Daddy, Lurk. Shout out to Elder Cat for the stream that's going to happen with Slow-Mo later. Shout out to the homeboy Anonymous. Slow-Mo backslap the homie, you know, the heart, the man that makes this channel go. And DJ Oris, you know, shout out to you guys, and you power the channel. What about you, Slow-Mo?
I got that jerk cat daddy lurk. Dragonheart Yobi, Arch War Angel, Brat, Hargi Shani, Texas, Ham Solo, Truth Serum, Big Mike, Smokes 901, Erodimus, Ramon Terrell, Only One Ganobi, Bunty Surtaz, Gaming Forte, Corey Hill, Stardust Acero, and that guy Smitty. And as Forte said before, we really appreciate the support you guys provide for us. Helps us keep this channel going. Not channel, sorry, podcast going. And you know, we just look forward to, you know, doing this more and more. And glad you guys are here with us.
Oh yeah, shout out to the homeboy Dragonheart Yobi joining the 10% crew. He says I had to rock. He said I had to show support to the bros, and we really appreciate you, bro. So shout out to you. Shout out to RRD with the $2 super chat. He keep up the great work. Halo's still the shooter. Halo, hey, listen, man. Halo is a great shooter. Nobody will ever take away the fact that that gunplay is phenomenal. But it's a desert over there when it comes to actual stuff to do. Unless you like doing the same thing over and over again with no difference in. Oh my God, Erodimus. All right, Erodimus. All right, Erodimus. You know what, Erodimus? I'm gonna do you a favor. For the next, literally for the next what? All the month of October, the next 4 shows, there will be no Destiny content on this channel when it comes to the stream. What is it? The Destiny channel in general, so there will be Destiny content. But
So you're gonna have to play some games to get some
that's
more
fine.
footage.
That's
So,
fine. I will. But yeah, just because the homie the homie dropped 10 gifted members, make sure you guys claim those gifted members. Shout out to the homeboy Erodimus for doing that. Really appreciate you, bro. Shout out to the homie Dragonheart Yobi with the $20 super with the orange boy. Peace, hashtag peace, love, and life. One of the most generous people inside the community. He's always looking out for everybody for the most part, and he's a great guy. And shout out to you for always coming through, man. And Texas says Slow-Mo, he will be playing Scorn. Absolutely. And guess what? We're gonna all show up on Slow-Mo's channel when it comes out, and we're gonna show support for our homie while he does it. We're gonna ring him up. We're gonna make him feel like he's a
see
king.
Forte's Scorn gameplay in more Destiny.
Yeah, exactly. So Slow-Mo, please tell everybody where they can find you, what you got going on your channel, and all that good stuff.
Well, you can find a video that I worked on today being uploaded to the DPS channel tomorrow morning. Check that out. You can find me doing more lunchtime with Slow-Mos on my channel, as well as working on a video that I've been working on for a little bit of time. I don't want to speak on it and then it don't come to fruition. I could probably start a channel with the number of videos that I've created, and then looked at it and was like, nah, I don't want to upload this. It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. It didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. But I'm working on something I think is going to be pretty cool. I think it's going to be a very interesting topic for a lot of people to you know, indulge in and enjoying the conversations. But it's just going to take some time, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Yobi says, shout out to Scoring. Looks disgusting. It does. But that's why we love it. And it's going to be a great time. For myself, Gaming Forte, you're already on the channel. Sub, like, do everything on the channel. Really appreciate all you guys that did, you know, for the people that do like the Destiny content. Really appreciate all the love and support. I don't think we had a video that has had it under 1,000 views yet, which is amazing. And it makes me keep wanting to make those videos. So really appreciate that. And as always, make sure you head over to the homies channel. Make sure you're hitting that boy up on his DMs on Twitter and tell him, like, yo, man, where's your video? When you gonna make a video so we can come support you outside of the podcast? That's what we want. That's what I want to see. Shout out to the homie. But outside of that, guys, you guys have a great week, a great rest of the day, and enjoy the games that you're playing. And we will see you guys next week on Slow Mo's channel and on Scumcast on Saturday.
Do the outro.
Oh yeah, outro.
Yeah, because you knew you were going to forget, so I said cue the outro.
Yeah, you're right. All right, guys, we'll talk to you guys later. You guys have a great week. Peace.
Eyes of Guardian.